Until then, it was a rumor, an undefined, unseen question mark, shrouded in fog and surrounded by ice. But it had always been hidden at the bottom of the world, behind a veil of frozen mist. 160 million years ago, Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, which also included South America, Africa, Australia. The Jurassic climate of Gondwana was semi-tropical, and fossils in Antarctica prove that the continent once inhabited by flightless birds, sharks, and freshwater fish, snails, beetles, reptiles, and photomarsupials, and writhing under giant ferns and trees.
That's a hard word. It means like cream of animals.
The supercontinent began to break apart around Earth. And by 60 million years ago, Antarctica migrated south to its present location over the pole. In a mere 20 million years, the continent was covered with ice, and the environment had become too hostile for most living beings.
By modern times, only 1% of the continent was free of ice. But not only was it too cold for most life, it was also too dry. With annual rain and snowfall of like 2 inches per year, the same as that of the Australian outback, the polar ice kept from the Antarctica frozen desert.
On page 4. The first paragraph.
The cold air masses created by this ice cap clash with the warm winds from the ocean to churn up a storm belt that surrounds the continent, making the southern ocean the most treacherous sea anywhere. Southern latitudes from the 40 degrees south latitude to the Antarctic Circle had 67 degrees south latitude long ago, and their nicknames from the sailors who dare approach the continent. The roaring 40s, the furious 50s, and the screaming 60s. Countless ships have been lost in these waters. Countless sailors have lost their lives. These perilous seas kept the continent locked away until 1774, when Captain James Cook reached the farthest south latitude yet attained. He warmed his ship through the ice pack to 71 degrees south latitude, and then turned north again without ever seeing the land. In 1820, Russian Navy ship under the command of Fabian
I will give it a shot. Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen.
Yeah, I'm not going to made the first circumnavigation and sighting of the continent. 20 years later, James Ross became the first to bowl all the way through the pack to reach land. As the 19th century ran out, more and more of the continent was mapped and described by navigators from around the world. Although Arctic claimed many ships of payment, by the turn of the century, the fringes of the continent were fairly well defined on the church, but the interior was still unknown wasteland place.
Then came the race to the South Pole. Shackleton's attempt in 1908 ended when he was thrown back by terrible weather conditions only 97 miles from the goal. The prize ultimately went to Amundsen on December 14, 1912. And there were still 5.5 million square miles untouched by man, an area 25% larger than the continent of Europe.
So it's the second to the bottom on page 4. All of England.
All of England, including Shackleton, regretted losing the honor of being first at the pole, but Shackleton set his sights at a new goal, to be the first to cross the southern continent from one side to the other. There was indeed much more exploring to be done.
On December 29, 1913, the London Times trumpeted, "We are able to announce today with satisfaction which shall be universally shared, that Sir Ernest Shackleton will lead a new expedition to the South Pole next year.
Lord Curzon, president of the Royal Geographical Society, summed up the feelings of most Shackleton's men, that it is a task worthy to be undertaken by an Englishman, to me quite clear, and that of living Englishmen who are best fitted by training, experience, and prestige to carry it out successfully, none will be found to deny it.
You without such support, however, Shackleton has showed certain parts of it again. His parts are ultimately magnet. I'm just good as the story, nothing else, for people, and then giving the important by the inspiration.
An Irishman by birth, 40-year-old Shackleton was a showman with a hunger for polar sport. As a child, he had been something of a loner, reading adventure stories during his school days, dreaming of fame and fortune. At 16, he joined the Merchant Marine, and his first voyage took him around Cape Horn in the winter. It was his first experience in the Southern Ocean. By 1900, at age 26, he had risen in the ranks of the merchant service, carrying mail and cargo around the British Empire, but he worried that his routine voyages might in fact be a dead end. Citing his years of experience at sea, he presented himself at the offices of a National Antarctic Expedition in London. In 1901, as a junior officer aboard the Discovery, captained by Robert F. Scott, he headed for Antarctica for the first time.
There was no going back for Shackleton. He had found his true calling. After Discovery came his furthest south expedition in 1900. Now in 1914, he was famous enough as an Antarctic explorer to be able to raise money he needed for his future. He even had the commercial smarts to form a film based on the fame of his expedition photographer in Australia named Frank Hurley. Shackleton's sweet-talk wealthy patrons took public donations and raised money as an advance based on future sales of film and photo rights. He also retained the rights to all crew diaries with the aim of publishing them at the end of his incredible trip.
With this main goal, he was able to purchase and outfit a 3-mast coal-powered working team called Polar Chris from the Norwegian firm that specialized in polar vessels. Its thick coal, specially designed for plowing through polar ice caps. In some places, it was more than 4 feet thick. The wood was still flexible enough to withstand squeezing against the polar ice. The ship was capable of doing 19 knots under steam. In honor of his modified Galton Shackleton, whatever the ship.
There was no need to call for volunteers to join the Imperial Trans-Arctic Expedition. Almost as soon as the expedition was announced, 5,000 would-be explorers rushed to the expedition's office on New Burlington Street in London to join. Letters poured from people all over the world, including at least one woman and a 15-year-old boy. Some letters were simply addressed to Sir Ernest Shackleton, London.
From the flood of volunteers, Shackleton began to pick a group. Some of the leaders' choices for his team were obvious. Frank Wild, the second in command, and had been with him on his 2 previous journeys south and had spent a total of 6 years in Antarctica, logging more than 5,000 miles of sledging. Tom Crean, another Irishman and a tough sailor, had also been with Shackleton before and proudly wore Britain's snow-white Fuller medal on his jacket. Crean had also served with Captain Scott. It was Crean who found Scott's lifeless body after the explorer's second place finish at the pole. George Marsden, the official artist of the expedition, had adventured into Antarctica with Shackleton too. Frank Hurley, the 24-year-old photographer, had been to Antarctic with an explorer named Douglas Mawson and was a key member because of the financial backing he could attract. Alfred Cheatham had served under Scott in the Antarctic, along with Crean, and a merchant marine officer named Frank Horsley, a part Maori New Zealander who had been a sailor since the age of 16, was to captain the ship.
The rest of the crew was made up of able seamen accustomed to the harsh weather of the North Sea, 2 doctors, a handful of university scientists, officers, a carpenter, a cook. For seamen, the yearly salary was £50. For scientists, it was $150. Some of the men had full experience, either Arctic or Antarctic. Some of the men had never been out of England before, let alone imagined a voyage to the southern continent. But whatever their experience, whether North Sea trawler hand or Cambridge University scientists, they knew that they were in for the adventure of a lifetime.
Endurance now had a crew in the ship's hold where stores for at least 2 years, including the recent innovation, concentrated bow-rail sledging operations for the Transantarctic run on dog sleds. Worsley explained that this mixture was composed of lard, oatmeal, feed protein, vegetable protein, salt, and sugar. The result was heating, nourishing, and anti-scorbutic, scurvy preventing, and it was invaluable. Made up in half-pound bricks for one man's meal, it had the consistency of a new cheese and a yellow-brown color, but when boiled with water like thick pea soup. Scurvy, the depletion of vitamin C or ascorbic acid, had always been a problem on long voyages and contributed to Captain Scott's death en route from the South Pole. Shackleton had consulted the British Army's nutritionist who believed in the newfangled idea of vitamins, who helped concoct the rations. Each brick consisted of 2,864 calories and was wrapped in wax paper and packed in tin boxes. The hold of the ship was littered with food.
In addition to these sledding rations were powdered milk and cocoa, sugar, tea, potatoes, tobacco, canned meats and vegetables, liquor, flour, and a dozen of one other staples and delicacies. Shackleton believed in keeping his men well fed.
Anybody else want the opportunity to earn some more candy? So we'll start through here. Like, I can read. I love reading. But I want you guys to. So we'll start here, forward, and then we'll keep going. The ship also carried coal, so just read the paragraph.
The ship also carried coal, rifles, ammunition, scientific apparatus, and radio games, books, navigational charts, lanterns, tanks and gauges for pointing back life sails and penguins, 2 light bulbs, and a small landing boat. The miniature billiard table, typewriters, sleeping bags, tents, hatches, lumber board,
Yes, I can.
a hut,
Thank you.
bicycle, a motor repair sled, and dog sled. Ground phones, skis, sewing machine, hockey, skates, rubber balls, a meteorology, banjo, and an alchemist cat.
The plan for the Imperial Transantarctic expedition was this. Endurance would sail from South America into the Weddell Sea, which is bordered by the Antarctic Peninsula. The peninsula was the same geological formation as the Andes Mountains. reaches north from Antarctica like an outstretched arm, cradling the Weddell Sea. Having crossed the Weddell Sea, Shackleton would make landfall at the best opportunity, then set out across the continent. At the same time, Endurance left South America, a sister ship called Aurora would sail from Australia and wait on the opposite side of Antarctica to pick up Shackleton and his hand-picked overland team at the end of the triumphant 5-month trek. The Aurora team would also trek inland, laying down stores of food for Shackleton's group to pick up and use on their final run to the coast.
The expedition's main object, explained in the fundraising brochure, was to cross Antarctic from sea to sea, securing from the British flag to honor being the first carrier across the South Pole continent. That, in a periodic nutshell, was the plan. That was what was supposed to happen. Many of the details of how the expedition would be carried out were unspecified. Like many explorers of this day, Shackleton was a great believer in improvisations. He would figure things out as the need arose. As long as he was well equipped and had a good crew, he was confident in his ability to pull off his plan.
Even one more.
At her dock on the River Thames in London, Endurance became a major tourist attraction. Curious sightseers from afar came from afar and wide to view the celebrated ship and its daring crew. The attention was welcomed by the men who answered hundreds of questions. Alfred Sheepman, the third officer, who found himself in conversation with some women who wondered about the dangers ahead and about Shackleton's ability to lead the men through unforeseen perils. He's a fine leader, he is, the Sheepman replied. He don't run you into danger if you can help it. But by gum, if there's danger, he goes first. In July, Alexander made a royal tour.
In July, Queen Alexandra made a royal tour of inspection of Endurance at the dock in London and presented Shackleton and his crew with an inscribed Bible. For Shackleton, she also gave a Union Jack, a British flag, and a silver and animal medallion of St. Christopher, the patron saint of Ireland. The Queen, Sister Empress Mary of Russia, took photographs during the royal inspection, and afterward the eager fans who off the dock gave the crew teddy bears, wheeled them across the Great South. The great Amundsen himself sent a telegraph about it. My warmest wishes for you, magnificent undertaking. By August 1st, 1914, Endurance and her crew arrived at the sun.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you for reading. So while I brought you guys something special, other than candies, right? So while I'm getting the Apple thing set up, I brought you guys a comic book, otherwise known, AKA graphic novel, to show you, give you another view with pictures and words. And after this, and while I'm setting it up, I want you guys to work on your on your graphic organizers. Yes. So they look pretty.
There's like 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left?
And I've sent an email to the tech guy and it should be coming next hour.
Okay. Okay then. Okay. Can I have that back? I still have homework for you. Thank you. Okay guys, and B. If you have your posters done, great. Come up and put them over here on your desk. If not, you guys have 2 minutes to finish up. They're due tomorrow at the beginning of class. The posters. Just at the corner of the desk, right? Alright. Okay. So you should be busily working on one of two categories, your graphic organizer or your photos, your poster.
Right in the head.
Is that Teresa's question?
I was gonna say, do you want me to keep it rolling? No.